sir.
Once again, it's a pleasure to be here on the Lord's Holy Sabbath Day. My name is Brother Vulney, and reading for me today is Brother Bryan. And like I mentioned, here at the Israel of God, we read the Bible precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, from Genesis to Revelations.
Yes.
And we preach this word topic upon topic. Each Sabbath you get a different lesson, a different understanding on different topics of the Bible. And today the lesson is going to be power to tread on serpents. Once again, today's lesson is entitled Power to Tread on Serpents. And when you're reading through the scriptures, one thing you may notice, you may come across a lot of different analogies, a lot of metaphors, especially when Jesus talked. He spoke in parables and he told his disciples things. And he told them that he speaks in these parables and he had to open their eyes to the understanding of these things. But when you read the scriptures, you see a lot of things. The parables, he gives you a physical representation to allow you to understand the spiritual meaning behind that. And we're going to look at a few things in this lesson as we go along with this title, Power to Tread on Serpents. So get your Bibles, get your pencils, paper, jot these scriptures down as you choose to. And we're going to get started in the book of Luke, the 10th chapter. We're going to take a look at the time when Jesus was sending forth the disciples. And when he sent forth his disciples, he was giving them some instruction, something he wanted them to take heed to. Even when we go out to spread this word, this is some things that we should take heed to as well. But let's begin this in Luke chapter 10, verse 19. Luke chapter 10 and verse 19. And when you get it, you could go ahead and read. Pay close attention to what Jesus is telling them right here. Go ahead and read.
Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy.
Go ahead.
And nothing shall by any means hurt you.
You see what he told him here? He said, I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. What does it mean that when you tread on something? You walking all on it. But he said, I give you power to do this and over power of who? The enemy. And nothing shall by any means hurt you. This is the power that he's giving his disciples right here. We got to understand this. But let's go to the beginning of the chapter and let's see what was taking place here. Let's go to Luke chapter 10. Let's go to the first verse so we could get this in context and see what's going on. Luke 10 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
After these things, the Lord appointed over 70 also.
Go ahead.
And sent them 2 and 2 before his face.
Now, this is after he picked the 12. This is another 70 right here. He's sending them out 2 by 2. But go ahead and read.
Before his face into every city and place whither he himself would come.
Go ahead.
Therefore said he unto them, the harvest is truly great.
Go ahead.
But the laborers are few.
See that? He giving metaphors, parables right here. He says the harvest is great, but the laborers are few. He's not talking about farming here. He's talking about getting people for the kingdom. He said the harvest is truly great. It's a lot of people out here who need this word, but the people to put in the work is very few out there. Don't nobody want to do it. Go ahead and read.
Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest.
Go ahead.
That he would send forth laborers into his harvest.
You see what he said? He said, pray that it's more people out there to put this work in, to get out here and spread this gospel. Because the harvest is ripe. The time is indeed at hand. It's people out there who need this. But who's going to labor? Who's going to go out and preach this word and teach all the children of Adam? Go ahead and read.
Go your ways. Behold, I send you forth as lambs among wolves.
I told you how he uses a lot of analogies, a lot of metaphors. He said, I send you forth as lambs amongst wolves. So he's describing his disciples as what? lambs, and he's sending them out amongst who? Wolves. Keep that in mind when you go out to spread this gospel. When you go out into this world, you're going to be amongst wolves. And what do wolves do to lambs?
Eat them.
Eat them up. That's what goes on. But he's given these animals that they can relate to. That we know the characteristics of these animals, and he's trying to get them to understand some things right here. But go ahead and let's jump down to verse 16. Let's see what he says. Verse 16. Because he said, I'm sending you forth as lambs amongst these wolves out here. But verse 16, go ahead and read.
He that heareth you, you heareth me.
Go ahead.
And he that despiseth you, despiseth me. And he that despiseth me, despises him that sent me.
What he's saying, Jesus is telling them, he said, look, I'm sending you. And if anybody listen to you, they are actually listening to me, speaking of Jesus. Yes. And if you're listening to Jesus, you actually listening to what the Father who sent Jesus. That's the chain of command. So keep that in mind when you go out. Just like he's sending these people out, he's giving the disciples authority to preach this word. And when we go out, he's giving us this power too. We're going to see with this lesson. Go ahead and read.
And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name.
You see what they said? They returned with what? After they went out, after Jesus sent them, the 70 returned with what? With joy. And they said, Lord, even who? The devils are subject to us through thy name. He has given them the authority to be over those devils. And what the disciples did and said when they rebuked those spirits, the devils listened because they was coming in the name of Jesus with all power and authority. Let me just write this right here. He said, I give you, he said, even the who? The devils are subject. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. They told him, they said, even the devils are subject to us through your name, Lord. But then Jesus told them, he said, look here. I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. I've seen it all. I'm the one who did it. He fell out from the heavens, had his fall and everything. I witnessed all of that. Jesus is letting them know the power that he possessed. Go ahead and read verse 19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents.
Look what he said. Look, I'm giving you the power that I got. This is what Jesus is telling them. I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. Go ahead and read.
And over all the power of the enemy. And nothing shall by any means hurt you.
And he said, but nothing by any means is going to hurt you. But I'm just putting up here what he said. He said, serpents and scorpions, and over the power of who? The enemy. Keep all these terms in mind as we go through this lesson. Go ahead and read.
Notwithstanding in this rejoice not, that the spirits are subject unto you.
Go ahead.
But rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven.
He said, look, you know, y'all doing this, but the main thing you need to rejoice about is that your names is written in heaven. That y'all is written in this book of life. Don't get blotted out of that. That's the thing to get excited about, that your names is written in heaven. But I gave you this power to tread on these serpents and scorpions and to have power over all the enemy. But let's take this a step further. Let's go to Luke chapter 9. We're going to go a little back in time. This what we just read. He sent out who? The 70. But let's see what he told the original 12 when he sent them out. Let's go to Luke chapter 9 and let's start at verse 1. Luke chapter 9, and we're going to start at verse 1. But when we just left in chapter 10, he said, the spirits are subject unto them also. But Luke 9 and verse 1, when you get it, go ahead and read.
Then he called his 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases.
You see what he did? He gave his 12 disciples power and authority over what? All devils. That's what we got here. Go ahead and read.
And he sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick.
And he sent them. Just like he sent these 12 right here, he also sent the 70. But what did he do? He gave them power over what? All of this right here. We're going to find out about this. This power that he's given them and this power that we even could possess if we believe. Let's go a little further. Let's go to Luke. Mark. Let's go Mark. We in Luke, but let's go to Mark. Mark chapter 6. Mark chapter 6. And we are going to read this account here. Mark 6. We're going to read one verse, verse 7. Mark 6 and verse 7. And this is the account of Mark when he was sending out the 12, the disciples, sending them out to this world as lambs amongst wolves. Mark 6 and verse 7. What did he say?
And he called unto him the 12 and began to send them forth by 2 and 2.
Go ahead.
And gave them power over unclean spirits.
Gave them power over what? These spirits unclean. He gave them this power over these unclean spirits. So these spirits would be subject to the disciples who he sent out. But we're not going to stop there. Let's go a little further. Let's go to Genesis chapter 3. We're going to go back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 3. Because Jesus told the disciples how he done gave them power over devils, serpents, scorpions, the enemy, unclean spirits, all these things. And they came back with joy and was like, the spirits, they subject unto us. They listening when we told them come forth about them people. They came about. That was that power that they possessed. But let's go back to the beginning. Let's go to Genesis real quick. Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3, and we're going to pick this up at verse 1. Genesis 3 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord had made.
What's going on here? He said, now the serpent, what are we talking about? The serpent was more subtle. What does it mean to be subtle? Nobody know? Cunning, crafty, that type of way. That's how this serpent was. Cunning, crafty, deceitful. These are qualities of this serpent that's being described. We're going to find out who this is talking about. Go ahead and read. What did he say to the woman? Go ahead and read.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
Go ahead.
But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Look how the serpent is coming, real smooth, like the brother said. How this serpent goes, how he operates. Smooth, deceitful, cunning, crafty. Came up to the woman. Did he really say this? Go ahead and read.
And the serpent said unto the woman,
Watch what he said. Go ahead.
Ye shall not surely die.
Look here. You really ain't gonna die. Using this crafty, this cunningness. Go ahead and read.
For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods.
Go ahead.
Knowing good and evil.
Go ahead and read verse 6.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes,
go ahead,
and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat.
Go ahead.
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
And Adam and Eve, they both ate from this tree that the serpent was doing all this talking. But like I said earlier, the Bible uses a whole lot of Symbolism. A whole lot of metaphors. Are we talking about a snake, serpent slithering around in the ground, in the grass that start talking to Adam and Eve?
No.
Or are we speaking of something else here? Jump down to verse 13 and let's continue.
And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done?
Go ahead.
And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat.
The woman said, what did she say? The serpent did what? Deceit, trick, beguiled me, tricked me, and I did eat. We're not going to get into the whole story of this, but this serpent, this cunning, this crafty, this smooth person deceived them with subtlety. But let's find out who this serpent really was. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, and we're going to pick this up at verse 7. Because she said, the serpent beguiled me. Another word is deceive, trickery. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and pick this up at verse 7. Revelation chapter 12, and let's pick this up at verse 7. And when you get it, you can go ahead and read. Like I said earlier, from Genesis to Revelation, we cover all the book. Revelations 12 and verse 7. When you get it, what do the book say? Go ahead.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels.
I want to put another term on here. It said Michael and his angels fought against who? I'm going to put that up here. My pen running out a little bit, but y'all see what I wrote. Dragon. Go ahead and read.
And prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
Go ahead.
And the great dragon was cast out.
Wait a minute. It called it this what? Great dragon. The great dragon. That's kind of like implying it's other dragons too. Just think about that for a minute as we go along with this lesson. But go ahead and read.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent.
That old who?
Serpent.
That old serpent. Go ahead and read.
Called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world.
Oh, he got another name called the devil. What else?
Satan.
Satan. What did Satan do? What did it say he did?
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Satan, the devil. And it said that he deceived who?
The world.
The whole world. That's why when tomorrow comes, you're going to see the majority of the world having their holy convocation on Sunday, the first day of the week. Today, we're having our holy convocation on the 7th day of the week. Why are we doing that?
Because it's the Sabbath day.
It's the Sabbath day, and that's what the books say.
Exactly.
But why are people doing it tomorrow? Because they have been deceived. They may be reading this Bible, but then somebody comes along and says, well, you know, that's not really what it means. It means this, we doing it this way. That's subtlety. And it's worse when you get a little bit of truth and then sneak a little bit of lie in there. Because then it becomes hard to differentiate what's true and what's not true. But the main point we came here to see is that old serpent that was in Genesis. We find out who that was. That was Satan, the devil. But we're not going to stop there. Let's go a little further. He deceived the whole, not only was Eve deceived, but the whole world. All of us in here, we've been deceived at one point. That's right. And if we don't keep that armor of God on, some of us might get even deceived even again.
Yes.
We have to endure unto the end.
Yes, sir.
But let's go a little further. Let's go to Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12, and let's see what the book says. Matthew chapter 12, and let's pick this up at verse 33.
33, okay.
Matthew chapter 12, and let's pick this up at verse 33. This is Jesus again. He's speaking. He's speaking here, and let's see what he says. Matthew 12 and verse 33. Go ahead and read.
Either make the tree good and his fruit good.
Go ahead.
Or else make the tree corrupt.
Go ahead.
And his fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit.
There we go. Speaking in these parables again. It's symbolism. We're not talking about literal trees right here. We're talking about something else. We're talking about us, people. The Bible describes us as trees also. And what comes out of you is either that good fruit or that bad fruit. That we don't want to be putting forth that rotten fruit. No. That's going to get the people sick. No, we want to give that good fruit. But go ahead and read.
O generation of vipers.
O generation of who?
Vipers.
Vipers. He had just got done talking to these Pharisees. And now he's calling them a generation of what? Vipers. What's a viper?
Snake.
That's another name for a snake. But he's calling these people, y'all whole generation of what? Vipers. Go ahead and read.
How can ye, being evil.
And he called these vipers evil. He called them a bunch of, y'all know, y'all done called people snakes before, right? Oh, generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, go ahead and read.
Speak good things.
Go ahead.
For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh.
That's why he was talking about giving out that fruit. Speak good things. Because what comes forth from you comes forth from out of the heart. Either good fruit or bad fruit. The words you speak, be real mindful and careful. Go ahead and read.
A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things.
Go ahead.
And an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things.
And you can tell when you're talking to somebody. Sometimes somebody start talking, they just talking about people, talking about a bunch of nonsense. And you're like, I got to get away from this person. Because you don't want to get affected by their rotten fruit. But it's nice to be around someone who's bringing forth pleasant words, happiness, joy, peace. It's a joy to be around those type of people. But Jesus is letting us know that, look, what you say come forth from the heart. That's what you mean sometimes. That's what was on your mind done came out. Yes, sir. We may not mean it all the time, but we might have been thinking it. Go ahead and read.
But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak,
go ahead,
they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
This is Jesus speaking.
Have mercy.
And he's the judge. So we got to be mindful that every single syllable that proceeds up out of our mouth, we're going to be held accountable for that. So be very careful what you say. Go ahead and read. Verse 37, what the book say?
For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned.
See that? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. But he was telling these Pharisees these things because he had just got done dealing with them about casting out these devils. And they said, oh, you doing that by Beelzebub. That's how you get doing all this. And he rebuked these Pharisees, but he called them vipers. He called them vipers for a reason. Because they a bunch of snakes. They trying to devour the people. But what did Jesus tell his disciples? I'm giving you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. Let's pick this up a little further. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23. Let's look and see these Pharisees again, how Jesus dealt with them. Let's go to Matthew 23. Let's pick this up at verse 1. Matthew 23 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read. Matthew 23 verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat.
Yeah, the Pharisees, the scribes, these are your religious leaders, and they sit in the seat of Moses. Go ahead and read.
All therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works.
Why?
For they say and do not.
Because they tell you some things. They say, oh, you should be doing this, or you're not supposed to do that. But what did Jesus tell his disciples? I'm giving you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. Let's pick this up a little further. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Let's go to Matthew 24 verse 1. Matthew 24 verse 1. Go ahead and read. But yet and still their own self, they don't take heed to it. They think they're immune to what the laws say, or they think they're above the law and don't have to adhere to what it says. But they'll go around and point out all your faults. You got people like that who do that today. Like to accuse you, talk about you, and do all type of things. Anything wrong you do, they like to bring it up. But they don't like it being brought up on them. No. They don't want to admit their faults of what they're doing. But these are these people he's speaking about. Go ahead and read.
For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders. But they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers.
Go ahead, verse 5.
But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
They like to appear to be so religious, have on the nice garments and robes and everything. Yes, I am this, so, Dr., Reverend, Father, all these things. Look at me. But go ahead and read.
And love the uppermost rooms at feast, and the chief seats in the synagogue.
The best. They want all this. Go ahead.
And greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren.
They love these titles. They don't want to just be called brother. No, they want to have another title to let you know, yeah, I'm above you. You got to listen to me. I mean, some of these people is just off the hook. But we're not going to get too much into that, but go ahead and let's jump down to verse 13 and continue.
But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees.
And he's talking about these scribes and Pharisees. These are the religious leaders of that day. This day we call them pastors, preachers, politicians.
Reverends.
Go ahead and read.
Hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men, for ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering
Jesus
to go in.
Jesus called these people hypocrites. Go ahead and read.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation.
Making long prayer because they love to be seen of people. They want to appear to be so religious. But inwardly, they a total different type of person. Go ahead and read.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
Hypocrites. He called them hypocrites again, and he gonna keep calling them hypocrites. And he calling them hypocrites for a reason. Y'all know what hypocrite is?
Phony, fake.
Exactly. Saying one thing, but doing something totally opposite. Putting on a front. You look up the meaning behind the word, and you'll find it's rooted in actor. Someone that's appearing to be something that they're really not. And that's how these Pharisees were. Putting on a front. Appearing to be so religious, but like Jesus said, inwardly, y'all are ravenous. What do you call them? Wolves. Watch out for them wolves. Go ahead and let's jump down to verse 23. What did the book say?
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
Hypocrites. Call them hypocrites again. This is Jesus calling these Pharisees that. Go ahead.
For ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
Yeah, they paying tithes of everything. The tithes of they herbs and spices and everything. They taking a tenth of that, making sure they do all those things. But he said, you have did that, but you omitted what? The weightier matters of the law. What does Jesus mean by weightier? It means hold more weight. What holds more weight? Go ahead and read.
Judgment, mercy, and faith.
Those are the fruits of the Spirit. Go ahead.
These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Don't leave the other undone, but you better make sure you have some love, mercy going on. Go ahead and read.
Ye blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel.
Making a big deal over the littlest things, but can't sort out when a major problem is going on, when somebody's really dealing with something, can't even sort that out. Jump down to verse 25. Go ahead and read.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
He called them hypocrites again. Go ahead and read.
For ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess.
He says you make yourself look clean. Cleaning that outside of the cup and the platter, but within you are full of extortion, excess. You're wronging the people. Go ahead and read.
Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and the platter, that the outside of them may be clean also.
You see what the message is, Jesus with this cup and this platter? Clean that up first. What is he talking about? Work on your inside first. Yes, sir. Clean up that heart, and the rest will follow. But a lot of us, we tend to be just like the Pharisees. We want to appear one way to people. Get all nice and dapper and everything and look like everything is fine. But inwardly, we are a totally different person. We don't want to be that type of way, because just like Jesus called the Pharisees hypocrites, he go call you that too and be like, depart from me. Y'all done said y'all did wonderful works in my name. I never knew you. We don't want to be on that side. Go ahead and read a little bit more.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
He keep calling them that. Y'all a bunch of pretenders. Go ahead.
For ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness.
Bunch of graveyards. Nice edifice, but you housing bones, dead bodies. Jump down to verse 33. Look what Jesus says to these Pharisees right here. Go ahead and read. What do verse 33 say?
Ye serpents.
What? What did he call them?
Serpents.
Serpents. Go ahead.
Ye generation of vipers.
Generation of what? Vipers. There we go. These serpents, these vipers. He's putting them along these lines. But we go find out who these Pharisees is really following after. They following somebody, and everybody who behave in the same manner as they do are following after someone else, someone also too. What verse was that? Verse 33?
33.
Finish that up.
How can ye escape the damnation of hell?
You see what he says here? You continue in that path, you're not escaping hell. That goes for any of us. But let's go a little further. Let's go to John chapter 8. John chapter 8. But Jesus called these Pharisees hypocrites, vipers, serpents. John chapter 8 and verse 42. John chapter 8 and verse 42. Now, he's speaking to some of Israel right here. And let's see what he says. Some of these Jews that Jesus was speaking to. But let's see what he says here. John chapter 8 and verse 42. Because they was going back and forth with Christ. Some people believed, some people didn't. They was contending with him. But let's see something right here. John chapter 8, verse 42. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Jesus said unto them, If God were your father, ye would love me.
Go ahead.
For I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me.
Look, he said, look, if God was your father, you would love me because I come from him. Go ahead and read.
Why do ye not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my word.
Now, they heard him speaking. They heard the syllables that was coming forth from his mouth, but they did not actually hear his word. They didn't hear what he was saying. Y'all know. Y'all might have been out telling people about this word. Y'all speaking, and the people may hear you, the words, but they don't hear you. They don't know what you're saying. But he's describing these people, these Israelites like this. Go ahead and read. Watch what he says. Verse 44.
Ye are of your father, the devil.
Wait a minute. He said, you are your father who? The devil. That old who? Serpent. Satan. And he's calling them, you, that's your father. Y'all following after him. And if your father was a serpent and you following the bathroom, what did it make? What that make you? You a serpent too. We gonna get into this. Go ahead and what verse we at?
44.
Finish up 44. Go ahead and read.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
Go ahead.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was one of the qualities of this serpent. What was he? A murderer? Go ahead and read.
And abode not in the truth.
He's not in the truth. Go ahead and read.
Because there is no truth in him.
No truth in him. Go ahead and read.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
Go ahead and read.
For he is a liar and the father of it.
Satan is what? The father
of lies.
Of lies. And that's what Adam and Eve partook of. The fruit of lies. What he was telling them. And they took heed of it. But it says that Satan, the devil, that old serpent is the follower of a lie. And if you out there following after him, you out there deceiving people, mistreating people, doing lies and talebearing and all that, you a serpent just like him. We don't want to be like that. But let's go a little further. Let's go to Psalms chapter 58. Psalms chapter 58. Saying he was a liar and a father of it. But Jesus told his disciples, he said, I send you forth as lambs amongst wolves. And I'm giving you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. I don't think none of us want to be called a snake. None of us want to be called a snake. But if we call it a lamb, we might not think nothing of it. But none of us really want to be called a snake. Because we know the meanings, but with the symbolism and the meanings behind this. But we don't see this. Psalms 58 and verse 1. Psalms 58 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men?
What are you talking about? Speaking righteousness, judging uprightly, O ye sons of men? Jump down to verse 3. Go ahead and read.
The wicked are estranged from the womb.
Go ahead.
They go astray as soon as they be born.
What they doing?
Speaking lies.
Speaking lies. The wicked are described as doing what? Speaking lies. Go ahead and read verse 4.
Their poison is like the poison of a serpent.
Wait a minute. Their poison? What the book is talking about? Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. Go ahead and read.
They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear.
The deaf adder. Y'all know what an adder is?
Spider?
Another type of snake.
Oh, snake.
Go ahead and read.
Which will not hearken to the voice of chambers. Charming. Never so wisely.
You see what he's saying here? But he says their poison is like the poison of a serpent. Those who speak lies. That's what happened. When a snake bites you, it releases that poison, and what could eventually happen to you? You die. That's what happens that's why Jesus said you better be real careful about the words you speak. We don't want to be caught up in this mess when we speaking lies and telling people what's falsehood and not the truth. Because we're going to be held in this category. Verse 5. We finished verse 5?
We did.
Let's go ahead to Psalms 140. Psalms 140. But it says that their poison is like the poison of a serpent. That's how words are sometimes. They can kill. They can hurt. They are deadly. Some of us may rather get hit upside the head than for somebody to speak ill towards you. Let's go to Psalms 140 and pick this up at verse 1. Psalms 140, and let's pick this up at verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man.
And this is a psalm of David. And he's like, deliver me, O Lord, from the evil, the violent, the evil man. Go ahead and read.
Which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war.
They're doing all type of wicked deeds. But go ahead and read.
They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent.
Wait a minute. He's describing the wicked and saying that they have did what? Sharpened their what? Tongues. Like what? A serpent. Go ahead and read.
Adders. Poison is under their lips.
Adder's poison is under their lips. That's another word for a snake, the adder.
Selah.
But he's saying these wicked are like this. They are like this. Following after who? That old serpent, the father of a lie. Go ahead and read verse 4.
Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purpose to overthrow my goings.
You see that? He's praying to the Lord. Lord, keep me from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from this violent man who has decided in his heart to take me, overthrow me in my goings. Go ahead and read verse 5.
The proud have hid a snare for me and cords.
Go ahead.
They have spread a net by the wayside.
Go ahead.
They have set gins for me.
They set gins for me. All these traps they trying to set you up with. Just like Jesus told the disciples, I send you forth as lambs amongst wolves. When we go out in this world, we have to be careful because we amongst a bunch of vipers, snakes that's out to get you, especially when you're a child of God. We have to be very mindful. But let's go a little further. Let's go to Psalms 52. Psalms 52 and verse 1. Psalms 52 and verse 1. And we're getting these qualities of this serpent, viper. Psalms 52 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man?
Go ahead.
The goodness of God endureth continually. Thy tongue deviseth mischiefs like a sharp razor, working deceitfully.
There go that tongue again. Like a sharp razor working how? Deceitfully. Go ahead and read.
Thou lovest evil more than good.
Go ahead.
And lying rather than speaking righteousness.
You like to put out
Selah.
that bad, that rotten fruit, that bad fruit, instead of that good fruit. Go ahead and read verse 4.
Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue.
Deceitful tongue. That's speaking devouring words. Look how it's being described. These words are being described as devouring, eaten up. Go ahead and read.
God shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place and root thee out of the land of the living.
And if we
Selah.
continue, or anybody continue in that way, following after the serpent, this is what he's going to do. Pluck you out of the land of the living. But let's go a little further. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 26. Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 22. Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 22. Proverbs 26 verse 22. When you get it, you can go ahead and read. Look what the book is saying here. Proverbs 26 and verse 22. You can go ahead and read.
The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly.
He's speaking about words of a talebearer. Talebearer is someone that spreads lies and rumors and so forth. Go ahead and read.
Burning lips and a wicked heart are like a potsherd covered with silver dross. He that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit within him.
It said, burning lips and a wicked heart are like a potsherd. That's like a clay pot or something, an earthen vessel. But it says covered with silver dross. When you cover up a pot with silver, it appears to be something else. But the dross, that's the actual waste of the silver. When you melt the silver down, the waste products, it still looks like silver, but it's the impurities coming off of it. But these type of people are covering up a pot themselves with this fake silver, making themselves appear to be some way. And then verse 24 says, he that hateth dissembleth. In other words, you pretend or you disguise with your lips. He that hateth dissembleth with his lips and layeth up deceit within him. People may come up to you. They may smile in your face, tell you all type of good things, then go behind your back and talk about you to somebody else. This is what the book is describing, those type of people. Because those type of people, like verse 22 says, the words of a talebearer are as what? Wounds. They hurt.
Innermost belly.
And they last for a while before they heal. Pay attention to what the book is saying, how it uses these words. It's important. Go ahead and read.
When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart.
Verse 25 says, when he speaketh fair, when who speaketh fair? The talebearer. When he speaketh fair, believe him not. Why? For there are 7 abominations in his heart. In other words, they up to no good. A lot of times people will befriend you just to get information from you. Because they have some ulterior motives. They're trying to do something. They may tell you flattering words, nice things to get you to open up to them. But they're pretending they're not really for you. They out trying to do something else. This is what the book is trying to get us to understand. Go ahead and read.
Whose hatred is covered by deceit.
You see that? Whose hatred is covered by deceit. And they really hate us, as people say. You got your haters? But it's covered by deceit because they go smile in your face, but end up backstabbing you. Watch out for them people. But keep in mind, as we started out, Jesus is giving you power to tread on the serpents and the scorpions. Go ahead and read a little bit more.
His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation.
You see that? You only could fake the funk for a little bit of time. You're going to be found out sooner or later. It said, he diggeth a pit, he shall fall, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. People go find out eventually what this person is all about. Especially the talebearer, because sooner or later they go talk too much. And everybody go understand. They go tell this, they go be friends with this person, yakety yak with them, but don't tell this person. Then go tell the other person, yeah, this is such a, but don't go tell this person. Spreading lies, rumors. But then everybody go eventually find out, wait a minute now, what's going on here? We know who the source of this problem is. But go ahead and read. What do the book say?
Whosoever diggeth a pit shall fall
therein.
therein.
Verse 27, it says, whoso diggeth a pit, go ahead.
Shall fall therein.
Uh-huh.
And he that rolleth a stone,
go ahead.
It will return upon him.
It's going to come back to him. You got people out there that's trying to bring you down, a servant of God, but they keep digging them pits trying to get you down. If you a servant of God, them pits that they dug for you, they going to end up falling right up in them. Why? Because the Lord is on your side and protecting you if you believe. Just like Jesus said, I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. You just got to believe it. Authority he gave them. And this is the authority he's given us. Because we come in the name of Jesus too. We come in with that authority when we bring this word. Go ahead and read.
A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin.
A lying tongue. Yeah, most people, your haters, your haters you got, they don't like you. That's why it says they hate the people that be afflicted by their lies and stuff. They really hate them, but they be pretending. They be hypocrites. And a flattering mouth worketh ruin. Telling them lies just to get something. But let's go a little further. Let's go to Romans chapter 3. Romans chapter 3. And verse 13. Romans chapter 3 and verse 13. Now he's talking about people who are wicked doers here, people doing evil. And he's actually quoting, this is Paul writing to the Romans. He's actually quoting from the scriptures here. But let's see what he says. Romans chapter 3 and verse 13. Romans 3 and 13. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues they have used deceit.
He's quoting the Psalms. We just read it in the Psalms. But he said, with their tongues they have used deceit. Go ahead and read.
The poison of asps is under their lips.
The poison of asps. What's an asp? A snake. They got that. We done seen all different type of snakes. We done seen vipers, adders, asps, serpents, all these names for snakes. But they all got what? Poison. And that poison can kill. Watch out for they bite. Go ahead and read.
Whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness.
Their mouth is full of cursing, bitterness. Go ahead and read.
Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways.
Most of your haters is miserable. Destruction and misery is in their way. Go ahead and read.
And the way of peace have they not known.
Go ahead and read.
There is no fear of God before their eyes.
No fear of God before their eyes. Because when you fear God, you're not going to mistreat people. You're not going to talk about them. Because you understand what the Lord could really do to you. But these people that the book is describing them as snakes, vipers. And if y'all know anything about snakes, how does a snake operate when it's looking for a prey? Do it just come right out the gate? Boom, I got you. No. How does that snake operate? Slowly, slivers around, searching out, watching you. Exactly, cunning. Then at that perfect opportunity, boom, I got you. That's how these snakes operate. And it's funny too. A snake, the animal, when you look at his tongue, guess my marker done dried up. But what I'm trying to draw is a tongue of a snake. How does a tongue of a snake look?
It's kind of forked.
It's not like ours.
It's forked.
But it's exactly. That's what I'm trying to draw. A forked tongue. And most people who y'all call a snake, what they done did to you?
Something wrong.
They done did something to you for you to call them a snake. Exactly. They done deceived you. In order for them to deceive you, they had to have you in there. Thanks a lot. They had to have you in there at one point. Oh, he got me a red one too. But that's how this snake tongue look. It's what you call a forked tongue. And normally people who you call snakes, they be speaking good things in your face, but then they be saying bad things Go about telling the next person some of them things. This is what the Bible calls as when you're double-tongued and things like that.
Yeah. There you go.
You say how the Pharisees was. They were saying one thing, but they was appearing one way, but really they was a whole nother type of way. Mm-hmm. Can't really figure them out. That's how these snakes are. They be deception. Tell you a little bit of lies, mixed with a little bit of good. Gotta watch out. But that's that forked tongue. It's funny. The Bible amazes me how it uses all this symbolism and analogies to get us to really understand some things.
Yes, sir.
God likes using the agriculture, the animals,